performing pretty darn well, so there's something definitely to be proud of here. We have our maps ready for you, so let's see which one of the 7 maps we'll be playing on. Again, 7 map pool, 6 are down, 1 is left. It's Cafe Dostoevsky, and Vitality had the last vote, removing Consulate from play and leaving Cafe in here. Was this the right choice? Because against Rogue, I don't know if there's really a place you can take them where you can bring them down.
I think if I'm Vitality right now, I'm less worried about the map and more about just internal team stuff, because with how hard Fabian was on them last time, the map seems to be the least of their concerns. And there's not going to be a map here except for Theme Park and, well, honestly, Theme Park and Oregon, where they can't pull something together from their previous teams and throw together on the fly, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. But also I think that maybe it's a good idea to put yourself into a more strategical map instead of a fragging, jump out heavy map where you can really work on that team cohesion and try and make it become better and better with the rounds as they progress. So I think like it's both good for the development as Vitality as for, well, going up against Rogue.
Yeah, again, Vitality trying to develop their skills so far, meshing together. All socials are ready. Let's see what you guys think about this match. You can go on our socials at R6 Esports EU, vote on all these games as they go. 71% to Rogue, 30% on a draw, 26 to Vitality. Understandable given Rogue's performance. Vitality, again, pretty much in the center, 7th place. You know, Rogue is number 1 for very good reasons. So understandable, we see them there. Very quickly, scores, Alex.
7-3 Rogue.
Stein?
I want to have a bit more faith in Vitality, so I'm going to say 7-4 Rogue, but just a little bit more faith.
Okay,
3 minutes more faith.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's throw it over to our casters. Enjoy game number 2, Vitality v Rogue.
Thank you, Milosh. A big game here tonight in the EU World. Gio, we're back. How are you feeling after that first game?
I'm feeling good. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling fantastic. I have just had that opportunity to warm up and watch the first game. Super keen as. That one was a bloody ripper.
I was there as well.
I know, we were kind of in the chat, just having a bit of a chat. But look, it is Cafe Dostoevsky here for this map between Rogue and Vitality, the final game of the season for each of these teams. Rogue cemented themselves in the first spot. Vitality, they have a lot to prove here with the new roster. Let's see how this game pans out.
You can have fun, but please wish me luck, says Corey. You don't need luck. You're already locked in. It's Vitality who are going to be needing it after a little bit of an inconsistent performance so far in the season, but hopefully on an upwards trajectory, and we'll see if they can pull it out here. Kicking things off is Rogue with the operator bans, and that's going to be Ying who gets kicked out first.
Yeah, pretty uncommon as an operator ban these days. But if you recall the match that Vitality played, I believe it was just last week. Let me grab up my...
Chaos?
Yeah, it was against Chaos last week. Yeah, I mean, it was abusive what they did to Chaos. Running Ying and all kinds of other nonsense, like 2 rounds in a row at the start. Worked out pretty well for them. It looks like Rogue, instead of trying to prepare for that and counter that on the fly, they're just willing to ban it out and get rid of it from the get-go.
Might as well take away from them what it is they've been able to make work so well, especially as Vitality have really been clawing for that more consistent option for victory. And if they've been able to make something work for them, then Rogue want to rather cruelly deny that to them. Rogue are going to be kicking things off on the defense as well, so you could argue it will give them a little bit more control too.
I'm really enjoying this chat right now between Corey and Fabian.
I
think they're fighting over who got less kills against G2, and well, Fabian got 1 kill and Corey got 2 kills.
That's not how the conversation started. There was, Fabian paid a compliment to Corey, but it was maybe a slightly less orthodox one, I think it's fair to say.
Look, let's dodge that one and move right on forward here into round number 1. We're seeing a clash teased out by Corey, but then the castle 6-picked onto. 6-pick also comes out from Vitality, getting rid of the IQ, a very popular pick here on Cafe, for the Kali as, I guess, a bit of a Thatcher substitute here to potentially get rid of any wall denial and enable Goga for that hard breach trip to work out.
Yeah, interesting actually, because the primary map that we've seen a lot of Kali come out as a replacement for Thatcher has definitely been Oregon, I think it's safe to say. So interesting to see her being brought out here, and I'm very intrigued to see how Fabian's going to play that, especially as one of the really interesting things about the way Fabian did play on this map in the last Playday was he was predominantly playing a lot of that entry. He was on Ashe a lot, not necessarily an operator that we see Fabian taking the role of all that much, but Bibu is back there.
Yeah, so getting things going here for round number 1. Rogue doing a fairly standard hold these days. The reinforcement of, or I guess, castle barricade armor panel on the door between shop and lounge, or cocktail and piano, or not cocktail, cigar and piano, and you've got the shield in here to support. They'll be hard holding here for a little while after they've finished making friends with the Jaeger in the smoke. I guess Rips kicks his teammate off that spot, but Vitality's Sledge on board. They're not really going to be able to use that hammer to get rid of the castle barricade in Cigar. It's going to be quite risky, so they'll look at probably using some of the util from Ashe, maybe a nade, maybe some of the lances from Kali, who's actually already used her first, probably on one of those castle barricades.
Yeah, and obviously first and foremost, a lot of those air jabs, well, I say a lot. So far, one air jab has been put down. It was there on the red stairs. That's going to prevent Rogue from being able to make some of these wide rotations they're looking for, or might potentially be looking for, and it will give Rise, or anyone else on Vitality for that matter, a little bit more control.
Hello.
And that's going to be Aces going down first.
Very nice one to kick things off here for Vitality, and that clear of shot being pretty successful so far. Leon, what is that? Shots! Bibu's gone down. Great stuff here from the Jaeger on this drone, but he's being chased down by Rise. Fabian to drone through, but he's just going to set that up as a passive flank watch drone, and potentially actually droning aggressively up red. Indeed he is. And for now, for the most part, Leon left to his own devices downstairs. Entering upstairs into shop is Rise. Dispatches with that proximity alarm fairly handily. Looking to enable this angle to bar backstore, but Vitality, well, they've bitten back just a little bit, but a lot of work to be done thus far.
Still going to have to be moving on over to the east side of the map, which Rogue are holding on to fairly heavily. As I say that, Corey's moving up quite far forward. He's going to get caught out in the process. Goga's been brought down incredibly low as a result, and there's the shot onto Fabian being made by Leon. So far it's all been very backwards and forwards with no real decisive win for either.
This is good map control taken for Vitality, and they've opened up the angle onto the default plant spot. Xcaros also enabling some good angles. That's a nice shot there from Rips. Very difficult to contest this angle. That bar soaks up a lot of damage, and a nice little angle through that will enable Rips his first kill. 2 versus 3 now for Vitality. Low on HP is Rise, but hungry to find one. Makes it a 2-on-2. This may well be possible now, but Rips still undislodged in that position. Leon gets aggressive now into Freezer. Vitality don't know about it. He'll punish one, and now it's all on Rise. Diffuser in pocket, but 25 HP to his name. Picks out the first one, finds that kill. All on Rips now, and he does trade out Leon, or rather Rise, in the dying moments. That is the first round going to the defense in a 1 versus 1.
Very difficult there, given that Vitality put in obviously a lot of stock, a lot of effort to be able to take control of that middle part of the map where you have the backstore, you have the washrooms, and we did see the Nomad taking position in the washroom, which is often a place where you'll typically see a defender perch. But obviously, as you very correctly mentioned, Leon being positioned in the freezer just wasn't noticed, and it makes you kind of think, surely if that was a part of the map that you're spending a lot of effort and a lot of time on, you would at least expect someone to be in there. I don't know if maybe it's because he made that rotation relatively late and maybe they'd droned in or just didn't have the angle on him, didn't know that he was in there, but the point is he was unable to have that, and that suddenly meant that pushing up, whether it be the corridor or through that backstore area, very, very difficult to do, especially as that last player there from Rogue was just in the bar, ready to get that final shot. So, you know, there were some glimmers of hope there for Vitality, but ultimately, that whole side of the map where you're needing to be taking control, they just didn't really do it.
Yeah, but now Vitality have decided to change things up slightly. They're bringing Hungry on the Montaigne, an operator that Vitality leveraged to significant benefit in their game against Tempra on Clubhouse. Really good on that roam clear in particular. It can also be quite good for bullying anchors and getting access to site. Now, we may well see a bit of a roam clear here for Vitality. They could leverage the Montaigne in that way, or they could leverage it for a much more one-dimensional push, pushing on through Bakery or some such, but that Valkyrie camera, the black eye thrown outside from Aces, will get some early info, and that may well be pivotal for Rogue to ascertain which direction the push is coming from for Vitality. Let's see whether he spots it out now. Looking out onto the east balcony, looks out onto the north side as well. Actually, I think that was the west side. Didn't quite manage to see it. Vitality, though, very early presence here in Bakery, that Montaigne at the forefront.
Yeah, they've decided to come in pretty quickly. And once again, the Black Eyes. I found it very interesting here as well that Karjaka, he's decided to take on the Jaeger. So Leon can be on Kai, but actually he's going to get taken down pretty swiftly. It didn't really take long actually for the Monty to just move straight into prep here. And that means the opportunity to trick and get those electric claws on is going to be denied there. Still the electrification on the bakery wall, but that really is it. It didn't take long for that prep wall to be opened.
Good progress thus far. Only 1 minute down. And look at this ground that Vitality have taken. Hungary is in a position to start really aggressing onto the bomb site. And we'll need to see some of these roamers from Rogue start to pressure on down. But Fabian is there to meet that upstairs. Now, Goga made his breach onto the bomb site. We could see a very early execute, or at least a tease of an execute. First smoke grenade goes through. That cuts off the angle to Red. Hungry trying to bully this player on the bomb site. Rise finds one. Goga's trying to use his info that Hungry is supplying, but now he'll just go for that plant. Rise covering the hallway. Hungry to cover on the site. Supported as well. And now Goga gets that plant down. Corey, though, on the flank finds his first one. Inside rips as well. Good for one as well. 3 versus 2 now, but maybe there's a chance here for Rogue to bring it back. 2 versus 2. My goodness, things are getting close here, and the Monty's still alive. That's the real challenge here for Rogue to deal with. They need to take out Goga, but that's not successful from Corey. And in the 2 versus 1, that is Hungry to clean things up. The Montaigne, Vitality said, look, there's a 3-minute round, but we take that as a challenge to use as little as possible.
Vitality actually really set up their positioning in that attack quite well. They decided to go in very aggressive with the Monty, which meant that you had to deal with that on site or you had to get forced back. They didn't really have any qualms about doing it that way. But then you still had presence in Bakery and in Small Bake, which meant that if those players on the defense wanted to back out of the site and try and make a rotation around, which we did see, suddenly you still had those angles and that pressure being held, and it made it very, very hard to actually make a successful rotation. Now, we did see Corey jump out from Kochek and get the kill onto Rise, and at that point I was thinking, okay, this could open up a channel of movement, especially as Karjeka started to move around by the bar as well and maybe come around by that direction. But at that point, those players have been brought to very low HP, Corey particularly, and it meant that, you know, still playing very aggressively inside as Vitality were, even though those flanks could be made there by the defenders, it wasn't really good enough. So I think Vitality really had a lot of control coming into that attack, which is something that I think it's fair to say they somewhat lacked in the first round.
It's a nice way for them to bounce back as well, and it just goes to show leveraging that Montaigne ended up being successful, and it's something that they'll pick here into the third round as well. But Rogue changing up their bomb site, maybe it'll be more difficult here for Vitality to leverage the Montaigne on reading. The main thing I'm worried about for this shield pick is that Rogue has the potential to kill the shield with C4s. If he tries to push on through bar, which is typically what you see a lot of teams try to do, is clear out this top floor presence from the defense and then start to move on to execute through reading. Maybe you'll have a player go through train at the same time, but clearing bar, clearing cocktail is really pivotal because that denies the defenders using that vertical game against that execute that you eventually intend to put on down onto reading. So if Vitality does go for that kind of top floor clear, I'm just wary that Hungry may be vulnerable to the C4s that we got from Rips and Corey, and he'll have to be careful of that.
I think what's also poignant is the fact that you have Goyo and Wamai who will be bringing shields along with them, which will have to be cleared, and only the Ash and the Zephyr. Really, you could say the Sledge can get rid of some of those shields, but realistically, it's going to be the Ash and the Zephyr who are in charge of dealing with that. That means they have to be running around in this same position that you're going to be sending that shield if it is the top floor take you want to be going for, which means that since the defending team will be expecting those players there, you're at a much higher risk of being being taken out. Now, there's that mute down below that you were speaking about before. He's going to have that risk of the C4 as the Monty starts to move on in.
Great positioning here from Rips, and he's not actually looking to C4 through the bar floor, but through the piano floor, rather. I think that C4 was actually tossed up through the hole in the floor, but Hungry uses the shield to soak up most of the damage. Fabian opening things up for his team with the kill onto Karzeka as the Estonian player tried to rotate back through the white hallway. That's a good cutoff there. Hammer and anvil strategy from Vitality, but now they have to deal with Corey. He has his own C4. It's tossed out, and Hungry takes another lick of damage for it, but still standing is the Montaigne, and that is what's important here.
Yeah, he's dealing with the pressure exactly as he should be. He's going to vault on over that shield. I guess it doesn't really matter if you can just climb on over it. Bibu's there on rappel, ready to support should he need to, but once you can begin to move down white stairs, then that's going to be Rogue having to deal with on this next floor. But straight from Freezer, Corey's going to be able to get the kill, but he can't finish it out for that second player. There's a nice one on rappel there from Leon Gids. Hello, and now you've just got the Monty and the Ash to deal with.
Look at the great support there coming out swinging from Aces to ensure that Leon can get back safely, but he won't last much longer. Hungry's been doing some serious work here on the Montaigne, and not just bullying defenders, but also finding these kills. 2 versus 2 now, but look at the health on Vitality, so low, but they've got the info that they saw on that drone there. Hungry spotted Aces rotating back into train from mining. Now Vitality actually not in too shabby of a position. 25 seconds, they need to start preparing for this execute, but as time dwindles and Rogue have information from these evilizers, it's going to be so difficult to get this execute down. Hungry, looking to push on through, he'll need Bibu to support, diffuser in pocket. It's so difficult to cover the Ash player as he gets that diffuser down, and Rogue are going to pinch from 2 sides, both doors of reading. Aces, surely it doesn't matter what Rips does here. The plant's going to get denied. There's an... Oh no, what is that, Bibu? He turns around right off the back of that plant, takes down Aces, Hungry to clean up Rips. Out of nowhere, Vitality stole that round.
As soon as the Monty turned around, he knew he wasn't going to be able to get that shot. He went straight for the Ash, but he missed her. He just didn't shoot the Ash. And I feel really sorry for him because it almost looked like that moment where you've got to decide your target, and it means that you're not necessarily as astute and as accurate as you would hope to be. And I was wondering, yeah, the pinch might work, but they're out of the C4. They don't have that to apply. All they can hope for is that the Monty is facing in a direction where the other can take advantage. But I think Vitality played that very, very well. And being able to bring down as many members as Rogue in the time that they did, obviously made that significantly easier for them.
Yeah, great job there from the Monty to cover. But I also want to credit to Bibu there because honestly, I would bet I was casting that round as if it was Rogue. Like there was no way that I was expecting Vitality to win that round. Even with the diffuser going down 2v2, like I thought, well, there's a pinch coming out from Rogue. Absolutely no way that they get this diffuser down. I guess I underestimated Bibu there because he stuck that plant tooth and nail. It gets down to 0 and he flicks on Leon, a 180. I mean, that was nuts. That was a round-winning moment. And credit to Hungry as well. He found his own round-winning moment. You know, it's a team game. And he covered as well onto Ritz pushing up. Great stuff there from Vitality. And look, they've made this Monty work 2 rounds in a row. Hungry has been instrumental in both of Vitality's successful attacks thus far. And I think Rogue are thinking, this is actually not quite how we expected this to go. We were definitely favoring Rogue in this matchup. And look, it's only 3 rounds in. But remember, Vitality are on their attack. And this is clearly something that Rogue is struggling to deal with, that Monty. So we need to see them step it up right from here.
You know, it kind of makes you wonder, because obviously they banned out the Ying because they saw the success that Vitality were able to garner off the back of it in the past. But because Wamai isn't banned, and you obviously have the Jaeger, sometimes it makes you sort of wonder, well, maybe it would have been easier to deal with the Ying, given that you're playing both of those operators. Now, of course, the Wamai could have then been banned if they hadn't have done it. You never know what's going to happen. But it is frustrating to see one particular operator be utilized so effectively by a team against whom you're playing, and think, oh, we could have banned that out, and we didn't.
Yeah. But as for Rogue's side, they're going to defend bar. They did this in the first round. They've changed their strategy. No more going for a shop hold. If you recall, Aces was taken out really early on in the previous time Rogue defended this. And now this is an aggressive position from Leon. Instead of roaming downstairs, he goes into bar. The Monty spots him out. He fails to get that second drone once again. Vitality using this Montaigne to its full effectiveness, and Leon gets all the way back to site. Corey has rotated off the castle onto the Goyo and might be able to leverage that to some degree, but I'm not so sure. That's the first pick, though, and Ace is going to barricade up that door off the back of it. No more Zafir.
And you can see all these remaining members of Vitality are all kind of bunched up at the top of Red Stairs in Cigar. We did see very early they removed the Evil Eye that was sat, over by New Hatch before. That means that, not only is some of that intel going to be missing there for Rogue, but also no damage that could potentially come in from that. Now, that nade did successfully get rid of the shield. That's some of this utility that's going to be cleared. But it does mean that if there's anyone who were to be playing from below, which they're not now, as all these players from Rogue are up here on the top floor, they would be able to potentially provide a pressure from beneath, but it's kind of redundant now.
Yeah, that's another change between these two rounds. Leon not roaming downstairs anymore. Vitality took advantage of that to clear the util, but Corey standing his ground on the bomb site. It's actually been really good. Wow, that's a shot you don't usually hit, but ADSing is punished, and Hungry taken down. No more shield. Kazeka not dislodged here in washrooms, and he'll spray down the last player. No, for some reason, Corey finds that one as well. Everyone wants in. That's a flawless round for Rogue. And right when I had said this was a moment to be concerned, I said, look, no worries, mate. Here's another round for you.
They did make that look a lot more simple and effortless, and I think it helped that after Fabian went down, all of Vitality decided to come in from the same direction. And at that point, you don't really have any kind of flank that you need to be concerned about. You don't have, multi-directional pressure. If all the attackers are coming from one direction, then you all know that you can set your sights onto that part of the map, and eventually all of them are going to come down if you know how to hit your shots, which it's Rogue, by the way. They know how to hit their shots, right? I think that didn't really work out in their favor all too much, because Fabian really was kind of the linchpin to be able to do that, given that he was playing on the rappel. Now, they're going to be coming down to Kitchen here, and this was the first win that Vitality got, because this is where they did first bring in that Monty, and obviously they played it incredibly aggressively, as I noted before, and the way that they were holding on to their attacking positions worked out very well for them. So I want to see how Rogue are going to adapt to this. They've decided to still bring the Legion, who is one of those operators that you expect to play pretty well against the Monty, but they haven't brought a smoke. So he's kind of the other operator that you kind of immediately go to when you think Monty denial. So I'm wondering if they want to try and repeat something similar to before, which didn't really work out that well, or if they're going to do something else.
Yeah, for Rogue, you're really trying to play reactively, right? And it looks like the way that they're trying to counter the push that Vitality did last time up through Bakery, just to execute on the site fairly simply with a Monty in prep and Gogo to force down the diffuser just inside of Kitchen. They're going to try and meet that with the Wamai playing aggressively inside of Bakery. You can see Leon Good set himself up with a shield. He might even have someone supporting him. Ooh, it's a nice attempt at a spawn peek, but won't find anything. Good info outside, and once again, that's going to help Rogue know where the push is coming from so they can dedicate their resources against that, but the Black Eye gets taken out immediately after by Hungry. Very aggressive here is Aces, but Vitality are aware of it. Now we'll see how Vitality deal with this Wamai playing aggressively inside Bakery.
I think that was Fabian who was on the rappel heading yeah, there we go. So he's going to kick things off up on the roof. So he's going to be playing from down below. Then that's kind of that vertical pressure as well that Rogue are going to have to worry about, which you don't necessarily get when you're playing the Monty like this quite laterally. Now, you have to remember, Vitality were able to open up that prep wall very quickly before, and they were playing the Hibana, which they don't have this time. It's the Maverick that they've brought. So their ability to open up that wall as swiftly will probably be impeded, especially given the presence of these Rogue players right here in the Bakery and at the, kind of the front of prep.
Oh, really nice shots there from Aces. Lights up Hungry so significantly. 20 HP left. And he's just trying to give information to his team, but as you so astutely pointed out, there's no Hibana, and that means that this prep wall can't be opened, and that then means that Rogue can play aggressively inside of prep to support their player in Bakery. Now it's a desperate attempt from Vitality, but it works out, punishing Leon just by taking that fight. Now Vitality can move up forwards from this point, but they are 3 players low on HP. Rogue, though, taking a bit of damage themselves. Vitality going to start getting to work here on the Bakery wall. That is Goga using the blowtorch. Now, he's so low on HP, and that means if someone can land a shot on him, that spells death for any hope of hard breach from Vitality. Trying to Maverick trick open the wall, and it looks like this probably will work out here.
Yeah, Ace is just trying to hold on to the angle, but you've got to be aware that that Monty is still looking in through prep, so you can give all the information they need to know exactly where that Valkyrie is positioned. There's the wall that does get opened. Of course, it wasn't electrified this time as the Kaid didn't get brought. Leon gets playing the Wamai instead, and he got taken down pretty swiftly. So now 30 seconds left to go, and there's Corey, who's actually playing upstairs, seeing if he can get something from above, but it's going to be Rips who does. He gets traded out there by Bibu, and Bibu hasn't actually going to make it a second.
Oh, and another one. Bibu wants everybody on for the ace right now. Corey has to try and make this retake happen. 4 players to find. Surely Bibu's on for the ace. Does he get it? No, Fabian steals it away. I don't think Vitality will mind because they are up in such a huge advantage right now. 3-2 with 3 fantastic attacks here on Cafe.
They didn't even need to finish planting that diffuser. Who needs a diffuser when you know how to get kills? And that's something that Vitality are really looking like they're on point with today. And it's really actually quite nice to see. We've seen with Vitality this really strange trend in the performance of their players where one week, or one play day I should say, you'll have player X and Y do really well, and player Z and W do not quite so great, and then it will switch the following playday, whereas today it actually looks like they're all really switched on. And I think it's fair to say that's not something that we've seen all that much from Vitality. They've come in very, very prepared. Obviously, Rogue don't have anything to fight for anymore, but I think they're still, trying to play their game. They're not, it's not like they're completely not taking it seriously or anything like that. But Vitality look a lot more prepared. They look a lot more coordinated. Evidently, after that last game or after that last play week, Fabian sat them all down, or maybe he didn't, and told them everything he needed to say, and whatever it was, it's worked.
Yeah, to reiterate the stakes here, for Vitality, these guys have been on a huge losing streak and really struggled. I mean, they even lost in the French League to Penta just in the past week. And, I mean, to a team that's not even in the EUL, that's a pretty significant loss. And, yeah, a lot of people might say, well, a lot of these EUL teams don't necessarily focus as much on the nationals as they do on EUL, and yeah, I'll pay that comment. But at the same time, Vitality is still in the very formative stages as a team. They're trying to get every win, every bit of confidence that they can, and so far they've struggled to do that even against the weakest teams here in EUL. They drew against Chaos, and we know how frustrated Fabian was after that. Vitality are desperate for some kind of hope that this team, this gamble that they've made, is finally working out. This so-called super team is so super after all. And so far they haven't seen that. Maybe there's an opportunity here to get that victory against Rogue and the much needed confidence that comes along with that.
So I'm intrigued here because on the first round, Vitality decided that they would bring a Nomad, and this time they've opted to bring the Gridlock for the first time this series so far. She obviously has those track stingers and does a very similar job of being able to cut off some of those rotations. That's going to be the first set of them being thrown out now as the team decide to move on down red stairs. And what that'll do is it'll just prevent any of those players from Rogue who may be upstairs, flanking down the red stairs after Vitality as they begin to move in towards the site. Now, they did have a really big risk before where you had players like this Mute playing below who could have that C4. So it looks like Vitality just want to deal with it head on.
Yeah, very much a direct push, and once again, Bibu on fire this game. He finds that opening, that's Corey gone down, and the C4 that would no doubt have been in the pocket as well. And yes, indeed, Vitality are going for a very direct push here. Not at all focusing on the top floor kill. Bibu, another one! Nothing can stop this man! Vitality in a prime position to end this half in the advantage on their attack. Goga jumps in on the fun. Hungry getting the diffuser down. It's all on Aces and Leon to clutch up. Now Aces can take down Fabian, can't take down the second. Goga's got another one. A 1 versus 4. Surely Bibu's gonna round this kill for his third on the round. And so it happens. Vitality up 4-2 on their attacking half here on Cafe.
Bibu looking like an absolute beast so far this series, and to finish out that first half with 4 of the winning rounds. Do we know how many kills he's had so far? Can we see the scoreboard just to see? Oh, All right, he's got 8. 8 and 3. Not looking too shabby there, Bibu. I want to see if you can continue this on into the second half as you head into the defense. Now, actually, it's not a huge margin, but Vitality have been statistically better on their defenses so far in the EU League. Typically, they're sitting at a 46.2% win rate on their defense, whereas they're on 42.9% on their attack. So if we're following a trend, that should suggest to us that Vitality are going to have a better round this time. However, obviously we know a lot of their success came from utilizing and capitalizing on the Monty play that they had available to them. Obviously, not an option on the defense. You could, in theory, bring a Clash, but it's not quite the same. So the question is, are they going to be able to play so decisively and so impressively now that the rounds have switched?
I do want to credit Vitality, though. It's not like they just cheese things out with the Monsi. In that last round, I would say that maybe even more impactful than the Monsi was that gridlock. We saw how Fabian pushed on through mining into the hallway, up the L bend and towards the site. Now, of course, he was taken out, but that kind of enabled Vitality to really focus on this Fireplace Execute without that top floor, which is very uncommon, going for a Fireplace Execute. They didn't necessarily rely on that Montaigne in that specific round. So I want to just say Vitality is really well-rounded here. And yes, they're leveraging that Monsi really well, but they're just playing better overall as well.
Okay, I mean, Bibu's going to be opening things up there as well. So, yeah, you're right. They're just playing better. And I was just going to piggyback. And it was
the hard
sad.
bridge.
It was a sad time. I just wanted to piggyback off the back of that point you were making, was that they realized that when they were coming in through the top floor, they were losing so many men, and they didn't have to do that. Just cut off the rotation and go for broke. That's what they did, and it worked out for them. Now, Bibu, as we say, has obviously been on a tear, but he hasn't been the only one who's been doing his job, and I think that's one of the important things, is of course he's that kind of entry fragger. You expect that from him, and he's been doing it so well so far.
Great map control so early on for Rogue, remembering that this is a downstairs kitchen bomb site defense. And look at where Rogue is already. Coat check, dining control, VIP control. Very unusual for map control to be forfeited this early on by the defenders. Great grenade. Now, Karzeka won't necessarily know about it, but he might find two! Oh! That's huge! Very nice there from Karzeka. And this is not looking so great here for Vitality on this defense. Nice ADS, says Hungry. I don't know what happened there from Bibu, and Karzeka finds his third. Fabian to fight back. 2 versus 2 all of a sudden. Maybe this is possible for the defense. Aces and Karzeka got to put in some legwork to make this one happen.
Well, they are starting to push on into sight here. Enemy detected outside. Okay, Fabian. Whoop. He looks like he's going to be going all the way around and see if he can catch anybody out, but so far doesn't look like he's going to be successful, as both Aces and Karzeka are not necessarily close to that bakery. Now, unless Fabian does decide to come in through small bake and flank around that way, but he could potentially catch them out there.
Goga playing the snake game, hiding. He's taken out. 1v1. Fabian needs to step up huge here and take down Aces, one of the most well-renowned fraggers in the world. Never mind EU League. He'll go outside. He's got plenty of time. It was a 2 versus 2 with 1:30 left on the clock. Now 40 seconds for Aces in the 1v1 to clutch it. But how much info does Fabian have available? Is there an evil eye to call out on this site? Aces gets aggressive. Not looking to go for that safe plant. Fabian just taps him straight on the head. Very well played from the Valkyrie to stand his ground. It may have been a 2 versus 2, but Fabian made it look like a 1v2, finding both kills. And Vitality continue their absolute tear onto their defensive half.
He was absolutely ready there. And at the point at which enemy detected outside came up, Rogue were kind of weakened to a point where they couldn't necessarily make big changes on the way that they were approaching the site to try and deal with that. They sort of I don't want to say had to just hope for the best. They had to be aware that Fabian could be coming around from a certain direction, but they had to stay together, which is what they did. And push in the way they did. And obviously they didn't win out those fights. But it was actually really nice to see that work out there from Fabian, because as you say, Aces is one of the most renowned fraggers in this entire game. Wasn't it in Pro League Season 11, he had like the highest KD, or it was it was either entry or KD. He had the best stats for. You know, he's not someone who you want to be underestimating.
I think it was
Go on.
plus 42 KD in Season 11
That's
Pro League. Plus
disgusting.
42.
No one should be allowed to be that. And yet he was. So when someone like Fabian, who has very famously been a support player, can get a a kill like that when he's in a 1v1, that's fun. More than anything, it's just fun.
That was a big round from Fabian. You look at a man who's gone 5-5, and you're like, yeah, I mean, he's pulling his weight, not doing anything outlandish. But that round, you've really got to put it down to Fabian on the defensive side to win that one out. Now Vitality move upstairs. Surprising to some maybe that they would go for reading, of rather Kitchen, before they went top floor here. And Kitchen actually does have a overall better win rate for the defense by 3% according to CGG. And that does loop back into something I did want to talk about earlier on in this match, which is Vitality going 4-2 on their attacking half. Now, I know people like to say Siege is defender-sided, but the proof is in the pudding, right? The stats say Cafe in 6 players so far is 60% favored towards the defenders overall, the whole map. And that really doesn't bode well for Rogue. If Vitality come out of the gate with 4 attacks in a row, that is incredibly impressive. And it's really put them in a great position here where just one defense won, and they're already at a 5-2 split. That is a dominant scoreline if I've ever seen one. And if Vitality can make a full rotation of the bomb sites and win at least once on every bomb site, well, I mean, that's the gate. That's GG.
I mean, what's actually crazy about it is when you think back to the viewer predictions where only 26% of people thought that Vitality had it in them to be able to win this one out. Well, Hungry's going to be the first one to fall there as Corey's able to secure that opening kill. It's a nice change there for Rogue, who have really been the victim to a lot of those, I think it's fair to say so far. But yeah, Vitality playing way above expectations, or so it seems. There's a C4, but it's not going to be able to get anything as Rise begins now to just head on down the corridor and run away.
It looks like completely running away from the roam is Rise, as you said, on the white stairs. Now, Rogue. Got to get a move on here. 1 minute left. Not bad start with that opening pick, and especially as it is onto that smoke player, which is so important in the dire moments of the round. But Rogue, they've got good map control. Moving on into Piano, but Piano, it's a very dangerous room to be in with that entire wall open and the shield inside. Now, the ADS, or rather the Magnet, does catch out that frag grenade, so still Fabian is alive here in Freezer, but now concussed out. That position is denied. Leon on this rappel, very impactful, but he's got to be ever cautious of that white window run out that's primed by Rise.
Very much so. And I'm wondering if they've got cameras out there or not. Rice hasn't really been looking at anything, so it could be that he's just relying on those sound cues instead, but he does get the kill onto Corey, so evidently he knew somewhat what was going on. Fabian gonna be brought down as well and make that aces too as Goga just starts gunning people down. Bibu joining in with the fray. He gets a 2 kill at the end. It wouldn't be Vitality if Bibu didn't get a couple of kills, am I right? Vitality take it all the way to match point.
The 25 seconds left there and the 5 versus 4 for Rogue. And they didn't really have the map control that they needed. They weren't properly able to take control of Freezer, dislodge that shield position. They tried to sneak up bar. Goga is there with the older 84 bullets in his hands, says, all right, come to me, I'm going to hose you guys down. He did just that, found 2. And as you said, every member of Vitality seemed to be in on the fun there and supporting. Look at that, 11-4. We're looking at a 6-2 advantage here for Vitality. This is an amazing resurgence for this roster that has struggled, really struggled to find their footing since these roster changes, and it looks like we're finally seeing the flashes of greatness that we expected from them from the get-go, from everyone depicting these guys as the no doubt super team of Europe, or one of these super teams of Europe. And on the flip side, we're talking about Rogue here, sitting at the top of the EUL, already guaranteed to make playoffs. In fact, already guaranteed to end this season, or rather this stage, I should say, as number 1 in EUL. But let's not forget that there's also the EU finals at the end of the year on the line, and the points between the 2 round robins, this stage and the next stage, are added together. Rogue wants to make sure they can get that spot coming into the end of the EUL this year, and for the finals, they want to take first seed going in there. Rogue are undefeated for 2 weeks. The last time they lost a game, it was in GSA 2 weeks ago, and the day before that, 2 days before that, they lost, they drew rather, in phase 1 of the EUL. aside from that, Rogue have been undefeated for, let's count this, 6 games straight. No one can touch them. And finally, Vitality is making them look like chumps.
I have to just do a shout out to that tweet that appeared at the bottom saying Rogue are just letting Vitality win so that Leon just wants to give Helby a win. Now, Helby, who's now one of the coaches for Vitality, was previously a coach of Team Secret, which is Leon's old team. So, you know, there's a little bit of a rivalry going on there. And I was going to mention, you know, there is kind of, it comes up all the time, but this whole hiding strats thing, you know, once you know that you're into that mini major, you don't really want to give too much away. So maybe Rogue will have their pride dented a little bit, but other than that, not all that much. Kajek is going to have his health dented a little bit. He's able to be rezzed in the process, but...
What I will say, just on the topic of saving strats and all that, like, yeah, I mean, in some ways, the team might consider... You know, not trying as hard, not going deep in the strat book, but a lot of this it's really about fundamentals. It's not necessarily about hiding strats. It's about how the team is playing at a fundamental level. Vitality is playing far better than they have for most of the rest of this season at a fundamental level. It's not just that they're bringing out these crazy strats. And Rogue, on the other hand, is really, you know, it's the inverse. They are not really playing well on a fundamental level. And on top of that, like I was saying, it's not just this stage that matters and this mini-major that matters. It's that the following stage in the EUL finals at the end of the year that these teams are gunning for. Rogue don't want to let that opportunity slip.
Dev, you are not following the script. Read the script before we cast next time, okay? All right, glad we got that out of the way. Well, either way, all 10 men are still standing, and over half the round has gone down now. So, bit of a rarity, but of course, curse of the commentator, Leon Gibbs is going to be the first one to fall as Rise gets that kill in. He's sitting there on the Wamai. Is Corey going to be able to get a kill here through the train wall? Doesn't look like it. Oh, he's going to be caught out from behind there. Fabian catching him out. He has that cardiac center as well, so he would have known exactly where he was.
This is absolute madness here, but clearing this top floor has been unsuccessful for Rogue. Another grenade comes out, caught by the ADS. Still Rogue don't have control of the top floor. Looking at the util game, still that one grenade left, but things are getting dire. The numbers disadvantage, Karzeka lit up to all hell. And now Vitality, really all they have to do is hold on. And Fabian's in such a good position to punish any wanton player passing the hallway. He sees him. He'll call that out to his teammates. Aces thinks he's going for the flank of his life. Maybe it will be, but finally traded out by Fabian in the late moments. Rips to hold on for his team. 6-2 is the scoreline. Rips wants to make it 6-3, but it's not going to happen. Vitality, in the most dominant game we have seen from them for a long time, take down the #1 team from the European League in a 7-2 victory.
71% of people, those who voted for Rogue to win, are going to be sitting there with their tail between their legs a little bit, as I think even if anyone expected Vitality to win, it was not by that margin. There we go, Bibu there with the 11 kills. He really showed up today, as did the rest of the team. A lot of consistency there from Vitality, a lot of coordination, and honestly something that makes me really gutted that this is the final Playday here of this phase, because I want to see more of that Vitality.
Absolutely. I mean, it looks like they've only just gotten started. A 4-2 attack off onto a flawless defense. What more could you ask for from Vitality? I'm wondering, like, when does Vitality and Rogue play? Like, is that tonight? Because I haven't seen it, and I'm still waiting for it. I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that off Rogue. Well, over to you guys, analysts. I'm sure you got a lot to say about that one.
Sassy, Mr. James.